who pray and sacrifice to him. We're going to identify them today. We're going to do the research today and find and have understanding of how the celestial world entered the terrestrial world. And we're going to also show at the end of this how all this equates to the gospel of Christ. Okay? Why one must be aware of those who came to our earth and took dominion from mankind. So we're tracing the serpent seed today to show you that Satan has a seed, a people on earth working against the children of light, who are the children of Israel. Now, keep in mind that the Bible says that we must go precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little to break down the mystery. So if we go quick and go through different precepts, don't worry about it. You'll receive the link to be able to pause it and, assess the information and, later. Okay? But we're going all in because there's a lot of information to deal with today. Right? Now let's go back to the beginning where it says the earth was without form and void.
Genesis chapter 1, verse number 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Now let's hit that. Let's go into that with more detail. Right? When you go to Genesis and identifying a darkness, knowing that there is nothing but light in the heavenly realm, we must begin to inquire concerning that darkness. Of course, there's no darkness in heaven, where the Most High throne is, and the angels sing before the Most High, like we've eloquently taught a couple of weeks ago, how the angels sing before the Most High. There's light. There's no need for the sun in heaven. Where did the darkness come from? When you read Genesis 1, it says, in the earth. Now, at this stage, as we've taught last time, a couple of weeks ago, this stage is the element stage. All of the elements that would create a world are within these gases. But yet, the earth is without form, and it's void at this time. A lot of detail is within the Hebrew. When you look at this earth, it says earth, a region, territory, right? But it was without form and void. When you look at that word form in the Hebrew, it tells us, it gives us a definition of, read that Hebrew word for me, Elder Warrior.
Thahal.
Thahal, which means to what?
To lie waste.
To lie waste.
A desolation.
A desolation.
That is desert.
Desert.
Figuratively, a worthless thing.
A worthless thing.
Adverbially, in vain.
Vain.
Confusion.
Confusion. Now, the Most High said, when he put things in order, that it was good. But confusion, right? Something that lie waste. An empty space. Read it.
Without form.
Without form.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Naught.
Naught.
Vain.
Vain.
Vanity.
Vanity.
Waste.
Waste.
Wilderness.
As a wilderness. So something adverse to the Most High's power was in operation, folks. Listen to this here. It says, and the earth was without form and void. Void means what, Elder Lawyer?
The Hebrew word is bahal. It says a vacuity, that is superficially an undistinguishable ruin.
An undistinguishable ruin. An undistinguishable ruin happened where you would have what you would call elements that would make what we know today as earth, without form, but yet void. Listen to this here now. And what? And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Elder Lawyer, give us the word in Hebrew for the darkness that was there.
The Hebrew word is chashak, and it says the darkness, literally darkness, figuratively misery,
Misery,
destruction,
destruction,
death,
death,
ignorance,
ignorance,
sorrow,
sorrow,
wickedness.
what?
Wickedness.
This word in the Hebrew for Genesis, the first chapter, goes back to its variant or root, wickedness. Okay? Something happened in the beginning, folks, of this creation. A revolt that led to a waste that the Most High would put in order and call earth and use man to order it. See that? And see, that's why when you go from chapter to chapter, from verse to verse, chapter to chapter, well, verse to verse in Genesis 1, the Most High emphasizes, and he's seen that it was good. And he's seen that it was good, opposed to what? The darkness, the wickedness. Are you following me here? So what happened? Let's get Jeremiah real quick. What happened?
Jeremiah chapter 4, verse number 23. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form.
I behold means to see. You're looking at the face of the deep. I beheld the earth, and it was what?
And it was without form.
It was without form. So what is Jeremiah seeing? What does Most High showing Jeremiah? The earth in the beginning, without form and void. Read.
And void, and the heavens, and they had no light.
And they had no light. Who are they? Who are they which had no light? We're going to show you who are the they that was in that region of darkness and had no light. Read.
Verse number 24. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man.
Hold up. So we know that this was before Adam was created. There was no man. Read.
And all the birds of the heavens were fled. Verse 26. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness.
The fruitful place was a wilderness, or what you would call in Genesis 1, a ruin. Read.
And all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord.
And was broken down at the presence of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, a lot more happened in creation than what they're actually teaching in the Christian church. With that revolt in the beginning, and I'm going to show you, Satan was looking to build his own creation against the Most High, and Christ ruined it and put a firmament around it to imprison Satan for a future judgment and those who would fall with him. Hold that, and let's get Revelation, the 12th chapter. There was a revolt in the beginning. Christ was given all of the information and insight on how to create, and he gave it to the archangels. He gave it to the angels under him to order the angels to create everything in heaven and on earth. So Satan, I'm going to prove this, tried to do a creation in which he would be worshipped like a god, opposed to our Father, Ahia. So the Most High, seeing the darkness, destroyed the darkness and put a firmament around it, and with those same elements made earth. Read.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
Come on, which is dominion?
And it tells you the third part of the stars of heaven.
So this same Spirit drew what?
The third part of the stars of heaven.
A third part of the stars of heaven. Stars are angels. Read.
And did cast them to the earth.
And did cast them into this realm we call earth. Darkness. And when they were cast for their disobedience, they had the understanding of what? How to build. How to work in the celestial to build and use matter to make creation. Stick with me here. So they was hurled to the earth. 1/3 of the heavenly angels. Think about that. There's thousands upon thousands, according to the Most High, of angels who obey, who are in the courses of heaven, as well as the innumerable stars, and those that actually have an office in the heavenly realm. Now think about 1/3 of those coming into a realm. The Most High putting a firmament around them and trapping them in the earth, folks. Now, when that happened, there's a time period for 1,000 years, which we've also broken down with the firmament, of an ice age. So a lot of brothers and sisters are wondering, well, what's going on with these constructs in Antarctica and different ice caps and all that, not realizing their original habitation within the earth, when they were bound, were in the ice caves and areas of ice. The angels. We're breaking it down for you, folks. And it's deep because, believe it or not, folks, they break a lot of this down in Marvel and different types of movies they have, like Superman, who a planet was destroyed and he came to Earth with superpowers, and when he lost his power, he had to go to Antarctica or go into the north, where his fathers, the El or the angels, left information to give him power again, because their original habitations or their original places of refuge were in the ice during the ice age. So what are we breaking down, folks? They were here before Adam. 1/3 of the angels were here, trapped in the earth before Adam, folks. Now imagine that. Read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. And it tells you the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Come on.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now, mind you, there's a prophecy of that same spirit. There's a prophecy in the heavens that a child would be born to undo the evil that began from the beginning. You understand? So it would be Satan and his angels' agenda to destroy the child before the prophecy. The serpent.
There's 3 of them?
Who's the serpent? He was turned to serpent, or he was turned to a Satan.
Baby, I know how to.
He had many names, but his name before the fall
I'll put it right here.
All right.
was Lucifer. Was Lucifer. He seeked to be worshipped like a god from the heavenly realm in the beginning. After his fall, he still seeked to be worshipped as a god in this realm. But there's a problem. When Christ shined the light on his darkness and trapped him here, the Most High made a man who would one day judge him. Because through the seed of that man, it was prophesied Christ would come to take away the darkness of earth and to destroy the fallen ones, the 1/3 of angels who revolted against the Most High and Christ in the beginning. This is a whole other narrative, brothers and sisters, but I'm going to tell you, Christ understood this and taught this during his ministry of the real powers we're wrestling against. He taught Paul and the disciples who are the real enemies of man. And this is the focus of the ministry, to identify the spirits that continually fight against us within the gathering of Christ Church. We have to let you know about this, that this thing goes well beyond the flesh. That's why our focus aren't strictly speaking about white people and other people. Our battle is against spirits who will take a body regardless of color or race. You understand? That's what y'all don't understand. This is what Christ was dropping. There is a level of deception when it comes to the Europeans and the other nations, without question. But you cannot keep your understanding of this battle on that level. We're battling something much greater. This is a power, an angel with much power and wisdom. He has more wisdom than Daniel from the beginning, who's working continually to destroy us all, including the white man who's helping him. He's the serpent. And I'm going to tell you, folks, it's the Most High who's delivered this understanding. And I was perplexed. I was blown away when I realized, and I started studying more and realized, you know what? This is exactly what the disciples were teaching. I'm going to show you. I'm going to teach you today. We're going to teach you today. Come on, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Revelation chapter 12, verse number 5.
Come on.
And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Let's go straight down to who that old serpent is.
Yes, sir. Jumping to verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
There was war in heaven, read.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Come on.
And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven.
There was no place found any more in heaven, read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and
Called
Satan.
the who?
Called the devil and Satan.
Called the devil and Satan.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Which do what?
Which deceiveth the whole world.
He deceived the whole world, folks. And through that deception, the majority of the earth is worshiping him today as the God of all gods. Okay? Christ's ministry, when he established his ministry with the disciples, he gave them the knowledge to trample or to fight this darkness that came to earth to exterminate us. He gave them the knowledge of how to battle them. The Romans and those that are under them are really the proxies. They're just what you would call pawns or soldiers for the principalities and powers.
I don't know why
Christ gave us knowledge and understanding of how to battle against the forces who control this world. See? Let's go there real quick where Christ said himself, he beheld Satan fall as lightning. Read that real quick. I'll be right back here.
Yes, sir.
1 second here.
St. Luke chapter 10.
Break it down for you.
Yes, sir. St. Luke chapter 10, I'll start in verse 17. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them, I beheld So in other words, as we discussed earlier, the word beheld is past tense for behold. So if Christ beheld Satan fall from heaven, this means that this is something that happened in the past, in past tense. When did Satan's original fall take place? In the beginning, as we just read in the book of Genesis, the first chapter. Okay? So reading this again in the book of St. Luke, chapter 10, verse 17 and verse 18.
Come on.
And the 70 returned with joy, or again with joy, saying, The Lord, or Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So even the disciples were asking, or were astonished with the power they had to cast out demons. And Christ is saying, listen, I cast out the father of demons. I have power over them all. I created them all. That's the power that I will bestow in you for the real battle, not this fleshly battle. Right? And see, this is what I keep on emphasizing with brothers and sisters, especially in this church, and I emphasize it, right? I have no control of what people do with their everyday life. It's your business. But within this church, we emphasize, even at the Passover, that if your focus is what the white man has always done and who the white man is, you're in the wrong place. Okay? Our battle is not with flesh and blood. We got more people within our own race who are demon-possessed, destroying us internally, that should be focused on. We should be focused on, because why? The trust factor's there. It has nothing to do with your outward appearance solely. Yes, who's Esau, and identifying Esau is important, because these are the people Satan would use in the earth eventually. But all in all, you have to get to the level beyond Esau. And understand that the battle is with the unseen world. That's where the real battle. Christ said he beheld Satan like lightning cast to the earth. Right? So we know there was a time where Satan himself, folks, was amongst the stones of fire, or the archangels, the heavenly angels, or the sons of God. Now this was before Adam. Like we went into Jeremiah and showed, this was before man. Right? Now let's go into that real quick. That fall. Let's go into that fall now. Elder Lawyer, I need you to go to Isaiah the 14th chapter.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse number 12.
Come on.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
His name was who?
Lucifer.
Lucifer. That was the name Christ gave him, the enlightened power. That's the name Christ originally gave the one who would become a Satan. There's many Satans. But here's the head guy, the head spirit. Who is he? A son of the morning. Now, what is the function of the son of the morning? Let's go there real quick in Job 38. We're going to show you Lucifer's function before earth, before man.
Job chapter 38, verse 4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding.
Where were you when the Most High did what?
Laid the foundations of the earth.
Man was non-existent when the Most High laid the foundations of the earth in the beginning, like was taught a few weeks ago. Go on.
Jump into verse 7. When the morning stars sang together.
When the morning stars sang together.
And all the sons of God shouted for joy.
And all the sons of God shouted for joy. Showing two things. Lucifer's position in the heavens were one of these angels who sing before the Most High each morning. That's number one. So there's many morning stars, including Christ being the head morning star that sings before the Most High. Then you have also proof that angels are also titled or named sons of God. Before man was created, the sons of God were the heavenly angels. See that? Now, I know some people out there have a question concerning this heavenly, what you would call creation, especially sisters concerning whether or not there's females in the heavenly realm. And there absolutely are female angels. But these particular angels are the sons of God who sang before the Most High in particular. Right? Yes, there are female angels. There's angels of the presence that represents the female or the feminine spirit in the heavenly realm. But these scriptures are breaking down in particular the male angels, which are deemed or called the sons of God. Right? Now I'm putting this out there because you have many naysayers and those that are against the Bible saying that Christ, there's many narratives out there that you can find, confusing narratives, that Christ is really Satan because he's called the son of the morning in certain scriptures, and Lucifer is the son of the morning. Those being totally ignorant to the fact that there was many angels before the Father that were made in the beginning, whose job was to sing before the Most High every morning. Christ at the helm, and Lucifer as one of the top singing angels. Okay? Let's go back to Isaiah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
How did you fall, Lucifer?
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
Which did weaken the nations. So eventually, Satan would be bound in the earth, take the dominion from Adam, and do what? Weaken Adam's loins or seed in the earth. And have Adam's family fight one amongst another. Okay? And through that war, Satan would look to do what? Gain dominion over the earth and do what? Forego his judgment that was foretold through the loins of Adam. That's the reason we have wars and all that. We're fighting against each other and all that. Satan had deceived the nations to make us believe we're the enemies when he's the enemy. See that? Are you following me here? Which did weaken the nations. Read.
Verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
So we know his plans is to do what?
I will ascend into heaven.
Go back beyond the firmament into heaven.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
I will have what? A habitation on the outside of the earth. See? Space stations. Read.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
The sides of the north is God's counsel. Is the Most High's counsel with I will be like the Most High. But is he the Most High? No. He says, I will be like him. I will cause so much confusion and deception in which the whole world will worship me instead of the God who created everything, including me. Check that out. And you know what? Obviously, it was accomplished. Right? It has been accomplished. The majority of the earth believe that Satan is God within their religions, not realizing it's Satan or Lucifer at the helm. It doesn't matter if you're Christian. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim. It doesn't matter if you're atheist. It doesn't matter if you don't believe at all. Agnostic. He's your Lord. Okay. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel now. What we're showing you now is pre-Adam existence. What happened in between that time of the creation of the universe by Christ and Adam's birth?
Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2.
Yes.
Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God.
I am a God. Now you're going to find this prince it's speaking of is a spirit. It's not speaking of a regular man or a prince. It's speaking of a spirit that would control who? The powers that are over people. Right? Like the example I can give you today, if you would have a pope or you would have a Dalai Lama who would be looked in this world as a king or some type of prince. But no, it's a spirit that rule that particular vessel. Okay? That's in control of that vessel. I'm going to show you. Read.
I sit in the seat of God.
I sit in the seat. Who promised to sit in the seat of the Most High? You got it, folks. You got it. Satan. Isaiah the 14th chapter. Read.
In the midst of the seas.
In the midst of the seas. In the midst of the seas. Now, when you look at the word seas, and when you go into Revelation to break down seas, it lets you, it's kindreds, tongues, and nations. He's in control of the people of the world and have deceived the nations, like is written in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. So when it says seas, it's not talking about the Atlantic or the Pacific. It tells you in the book of Daniel and in the book of Revelation that the seas represents peoples, kindreds, tongues. I'm in control of the people. Read.
Yet thou art a man.
Yet thou art a what?
A man.
That's right. When he was relegated to this realm, brothers and sisters, his power was taken. And guess what? So was his wings. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head. He's nothing but a mere man now, who needs the technology and the servitude of man to build the resources for him to get back, to use the resources for him to get back to the heavenly realm. So he can't do it through the celestial power and ingenuity that was given to him by Christ. He must now do it from the earth. In order to do so, man must serve him. See? He must somehow get man under his power to utilize us as slaves so that he and the spirits can get back to the heavenly realm. That's the real narrative from the Luciferian side, folks. That mankind is to help Lucifer because he was unrighteously dealt with, according to the Luciferians. So it's upon man to help him regain his power lost by an unjust God. That's their Luciferian philosophy, folks. So it tells us the spirit that controls the the prince of Tyrus. But then it breaks down the king of Tyrus, the overall spirit. Let's read it.
Mm-hmm. Yet thou art a man and not the Most High.
Yet you are a man, Lucifer, and not the Most High. Come on.
Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. Verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel.
Thou art wiser than Daniel. Why? Because you have to realize, brothers and sisters, Lucifer had major parts of Christ's original plan for creation in the beginning. So he's way wiser than Daniel. He was one of the angels with the blueprint. Read.
There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Jumping down to verse number 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus.
Now he says, now take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus. Read.
And say unto him, Thus saith the Most High Power, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God.
You were where?
In Eden, the garden of God.
Now this is how you know this is no politician or a king or someone of high prestige during the time of Ezekiel. Because this particular spirit was where?
In Eden, the garden of God.
This spirit was in the Garden of Eden. This spirit was there to deceive man. The same spirit that was controlling the powers that be during the time of Ezekiel, folks. Satan, the fallen one, was in Eden. Now we know specifically the Most High is showing us that spirit that fell from the beginning in particular. Right? Are you following me here? Come on.
Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx.
So before he fell, folks, Lucifer was in the heavenly realm as an angel, clothed in jewels. Clothed, hey, like they say in this world now, he was iced out from head to toe. The most beautiful angel from the heavenly realm was Lucifer. Read.
The jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created.
And when it says thy tabrets and thy pipes, not only was he looking good, he sure could sing. Okay? His tabrets and pipes was his musical skill from the heavenly realm, singing before the Most High. Now check that out. So it's no wonder in our world that certain people, once they have certain gifts, get iced out with their singing gifts and do what? You got it. Are made to become an idol in this world. Because that's a small example of how he was seen in the heavenly realm. And through that being, and through that power, was able to do what? Convince angels to follow him. You would use idols to control the population and have them follow the idol.
What is this?
See?
Nigga?
Are you seeing this here? Come on.
Verse 14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so.
When it says he was the anointed cherub that covereth, those who have knowledge of the Ark of the Covenant know that at the mercy seat you have the Ark of the Covenant in the tabernacle with two angels at the top of that ark, that square ark. Well, guess what, folks? Lucifer was so close to the Most High's mercy seat. How close was he? It was him and another angel as the angels over the Ark of the Covenant. It was only until his fall that another angel replaced him there. So when you see that Ark of the Covenant, the original Ark of the Covenant with two angels over that box, Lucifer was one of those. He was the cherub, which is a high-ranking angel, the cherubim, in the heavenly realm, right next to Christ in the Most High.
I'm missing threes, bruh.
Read.
Verse number 14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of the Most High. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee.
Until iniquity was found in thee. Read.
Verse 16. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with
To create his own. See? Read.
I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire.
Come on.
Verse 17. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee.
I will lay thee among kings, where they will behold thee. See? So now he would be what? He would be amongst not just the normal laymen, folks. He would be amongst the leaders of our world. You see this? And eventually gain control and control the leaders, the kings of this world. Are you following this? Now he wasn't alone. It was him and 1/3 of the angels. Let's go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter now.
Genesis chapter 2, verse number 1.
Come on.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day the Most High ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And
now mind you, folks, the animals, those are of the sea, Leviathan, Behemoth, everything is created now. Even the spirits that would one day come to this earth, all created. The angels are created, and don't forget, in the midst of this creation, 1/3 of the angels are within the earth. Now they're on the outside of the garden, right? But nonetheless, they're on earth. At this time, brothers and sisters, keep in mind that the earth is one landmass. It's one landmass. So the 1/3 of the angels are on this landmass. It's just that Adam is moved eastward in Eden. He's in the eastern garden, while the others are still inhabiting the earth. Even after the ice melts and all that, even though we still have caps in the earth, the angels are here with Adam and Eve eventually. See? It's mankind in the earth with nothing but 1/3 of the angels as far as beings goes. Okay? So when you see a lot of these so-called history channels showing you different pyramids in different places and different constructs and all that was inhabited, and they say it was 1,000,000 years ago, no. It's talking about them, folks. It's talking about those angels that were here while Adam and Eve, in Adam and Eve's infancy. Okay? Come on.
Verse number 3. And the Most High blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which he had created, or which the Most High created and made.
Mm-hmm.
These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created.
Now you see what it says? These are the generations of what?
The heavens and of the earth.
The heavens and the earth. So everything in heaven and everything in earth runs concurrent to each other, folks. These generations leading to judgment is including the time heavens were created. They're running concurrent together. I hope you all see that. Come on.
These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord power made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Most High power had not caused it to rain upon the earth. And there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Most High Power formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. And the Most High Power planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
And the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Right? Finish reading.
Verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads. And the name of the first was Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. And there is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord power took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Now, when you do the, what you would call the approximate location in between these 4 rivers, you get the original geographical location of Eden. Okay? When I say the actual physical geography, folks, it's different than the spiritual Eden. Because they were one, at one point, one and the same until the curse. And I'm going to go into that a little later. You had a place in Eden that connected directly to the heavenly realm where Christ could come in and walk amongst Adam and direct Adam and Eve. It was like a portal that connected what you would call the spiritual Eden to the physical Eden. Okay? Now, this was before the fall. But one thing in particular, folks, there was something outside of the creation we read a couple of weeks ago in Genesis 1. There's an anomalous thorn sticking out here, and that's the tree of good and evil. Because we know in Genesis 1, when the Most High made the fruits after his kind and all the herbs after their kind, the Most High said that it was good. How all of a sudden in Genesis 2, we're looking at a planet in Eden that's evil too. For years, that was a confusing point of all theology. Even Christians couldn't break this down. Like, well, hold up. Most High said it was good. When did some evil get planted? We have the answers today. Something happened. What they didn't teach in Christianity, that when Adam was made, it wasn't just a serpent here. It was 1/3 of the angels who now took the form of man in earth. They lost their power and now are revered in the earth, would one day be revered as gods over all of the religions. Okay? That's one level. That's one level, folks. But we're going to show you who planted that tree today. It wasn't the Most High. The Most High never tempted man to do evil. That wasn't the Most High. That's why the Most High distinctly told Adam, after making all the fruits and herbs to be consumed as good, he distinctly told Adam, don't touch that tree. Okay? Read.
Verse number 16. And the Most High Power commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Thou shalt surely what?
Thou shalt surely die.
So this tells us something else. This gives us a certain level of understanding. Right? Adam and Eve were living souls. And they were living in the state of immortality, believe it or not, until death was introduced. That means there is a level beyond death, folks. There was life before death. Death is a curse. See? Death is a curse, folks. Because here it is, the Most High is speaking to Adam, a living soul. He have a body and everything, but it's not subjected to death. See? He says, but if you take this on, this will become your poison. It will lead to decay. See? It would lead to what? Degradation. You will be degraded. You will go back to the dust. So who would poison man? You might ask. Like I said before.
Wow, bro. Why am I missing so many
The greatest trick
shots?
Satan ever played on mankind was making all of us believe he never existed or didn't exist. Because now we can blame, now mankind can blame all the bad stuff on who? The Most High. You understand? What you have, Brother Lawyer?
A few scriptures in Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon starting in chapter 1 and verse 13. For the Most High made not death, neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living. For he created all things that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were healthful, and there is no poison of destruction in them.
There's no poison in anything the Most High creates, folks. Read.
Nor the kingdom of death upon earth. For righteousness is immortal. But ungodly men with their works and words called it to them. For when they thought to have it their friend, they consumed to naught and made a covenant with it, because they are worthy to partake of it. Jumping over to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse number 22. As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For the Most High created man to be immortal, and made him to be the image of his own eternity.
So he made us originally, and we will be immortal. Come on.
Verse 24. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it.
So who planted that tree, according to the word of the Most High? That last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Just the last piece.
Yes, sir.
That you just read.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse number 23. Get back there.
Okay. I know you holding on. I'm seeing you holding. Don't worry about it. Just take your time.
Mm-hmm. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 24.
Yep.
Nevertheless, through envy of the devil.
Envy of the devil, because the Most High, because he had a problem with being hurled. Him being envious of the Most High. Read.
Came death into the world.
Came death into the world. So who created the death tree? You might ask. Not the Most High, but Satan would have us believe that the Most High tempted Adam to do wickedness, to do evil. No. The Most High warned Adam that there was a tree there that wasn't planted by him. That wasn't planted by the Most High. Who planted the tree? Well, guess what? Baruch asked the Most High the same question. Baruch asked the Most High, who planted that tree? Why was that tree planted? And you know what? Even growing up, I never understood, growing up as a child. The pastors couldn't answer this question. They would say that the Most High could do everything. Well, he could do anything, and he did it so that mankind can experience evil and all these other things. But he could never definitively give an explanation that I was comfortable with. You understand? No one ever explained why God would put the tree there. If he loved Adam and all these things, why would he put it there? Right? And Christians should be taught this. Right? Because in 2nd Baruch, a prophet of the Most High, Baruch was curious concerning that. Looking at the state of Israel, saying, Lord, this one who've come to our earth have destroyed us and our people, and we must serve all the other nations that Satan has empowered over us. Give me some insight, Lord. Why did you? Who put that tree there? We were meant to rule. Baruch was asking the Most High. That dirty tree did this, right? So let's see. Let's hear the answer to that question. That age-old question that should have been taught in our Christian churches years ago.
This is the book of 3rd Baruch, chapter 4, and verse number 8.
Okay.
And I said, I pray thee, show me which is the tree which led Adam astray.
Show me the tree, Baruch asked the Most High. Show me the tree that led Adam astray. Go on.
And the angel said to me, it is the vine which the angel Samuel planted.
It's the vine that who planted?
Which the angel Samuel planted.
Which the angel Samuel planted.
Whereas the Most High Power was angry, and he cursed him and his plant, while also on this account he did not permit Adam to touch it.
And he told Adam not to touch it. You're going to find out, brothers and sisters, that original vine leads to all the drugs that are destroying our people today, including marijuana. This tree was the actual concentrated drug that all the drugs in the earth that destroy mankind would come from. I think it's called the Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript, which was translated out of French into English, used by the Bushes and all that for drug dealing, showed all the original purposes of all the plants, the opioids, and all these things they're using was actually from the original tree that had 12 different variants, opposed to our tree, the tree of life, which had 12 different righteous variants. That they can control mankind if they can get one hooked on one of these drugs. And the drugs first started from the tree of good and evil, folks. So what he did was Satan took the Most High's plant and began to make cross splicing against the law of nature to create a poisonous tree that would not just poison Adam and Eve, would become a drug used to lead mankind to hell throughout all of Adam's children's generation. It even shows in the Voynich manuscript the marijuana plant, folks. And people are talking about, well, it have good principles, it can do this, and hemp do this, and hemp do that. Who said it's all evil? There's good in it too. But are you willing to accept the evil that comes with it, which is death? So with all these drugs, there's a benefit. Okay, there's a benefit. But are you willing to suffer the side effects? Death. It blew me away when I found out about the Voynich manuscript. It was some Illuminati video that was breaking down how all of the presidents and the leaders that be would use drugs to control the righteous. And in this book, it will be sent to all the leaders of the earth to control the population through plants. Check that out. Who planted the tree? Samuel. Who's Samuel? Satan. Let me put this in your chat real quick. Hold on here. What I have to do, Elder Lawyer?
Just scroll up. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Lawyers used to this stuff better than me, so.
Go back to it.
Okay. What I have to do?
Go to the card bill.
Okay. Yeah. And, yeah, thank you. All right. Great. All right. I'm going to give you something that most Christian churches has ignored. They don't even hide this. I need y'all to click on that link right there. And it says simple.wikipedia.org, Samuel. I need you all to click on that link right there, Samuel. whom the Most High, through Christ, identified the angel that planted the tree of good and evil. Elder Lawyer, out of this, I need you to read this. They don't even hide this. Read Samuel out of the Wikipedia here.
It says Samuel is an archangel in Talmudic and post-Talmudic beliefs.
So if it's in the Talmud, that means even Jewish people know of this angel but haven't told any Christians about this. Read.
As well as Christian tradition and demonology. There are also other religions that believe in the stories of Samuel. Samuel is often thought to be both good and evil. It is, hence, the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Exactly, go on.
It is said that he was the guardian angel of Esau.
He was the guardian angel of who?
Of Esau.
Of who?
Of Esau.
Read.
And a patron of the sinful empire of Rome.
And he's a patron of the sinful empire of Rome. Even the Catholics know about Samuel when you go down here. Right? And it goes into further detail, but this is speaking of the death angel and all that. So Samuel have power for death. Okay? Why? Because he created the tree that would bring forth death. So when you hear in folklore or myth the angel of death, folks, he's the same angel that's over Esau or over Rome. It's Satan, Samuel. He planted the tree, not the Most High. Check that out. Now, the same way there's an order in heaven, there's an order in earth. That because he became the head demon and took dominion, all the demons and spirits that fall or come of him will be subjected under him, under what we would call an earthly order, under Samuel. The same way there's a ranking system in heaven, he would have a ranking system of evil under him on earth. And he can only execute that evil through permission. See? That means if you're under Christ or have a hedge over you, the demon forces and the powers that be have no power. But if you disobey the Most High, he will throw you over under Satan's ranks. He will cast you over, and now Satan can use his ranking order of demons to destroy you. Are you following me here? Man, I wish, you know how many years I was confused concerning this growing up, brothers and sisters? Like, why would God put that there? It doesn't make sense that a good God, that a loving God who loves us would do this. They could have been told us this, but our preachers, they're simple as the days old, folks. They haven't researched or studied anything. Unfortunately. Have everyone out there, even atheists, blaming God for all the wickedness and death on the earth, not telling us it's their God who brought forth this particular tree and deceived our Father. Now let's go to the next point, Elder Lloyd. Let's go to Genesis 3 and 1.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 1.
Now at this point, the Most High pull Eve out of Adam and make a living soul, husband and wife. Now, Adam has full dominion over everything, so he entrusts Eve to have dominion over all the female creatures, and he have dominion over everything. Right? So now, you have the king of the earth, Adam, and the quote-unquote queen of the earth, Eve, in full dominion until the deception. That old serpent called the devil, written of in Revelations 12, is at work. Let's go.
Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High Power had made.
When it says beast, it's talking about also of creation. Of anything that walks, anything that is created, this was the most subtle. Read.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, Have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Now, brothers and sisters, did the Most High tell Eve not to eat of the tree of good and evil? No. That was told to Adam. Adam told Eve not to touch it. So this is how the serpent works. Did he tell you not to touch it, Eve? Did he tell you? See, and this is that divisive spirit, was something to come in to break a spiritual union. Something on the outside can convince you to go against the person the Most High put in your life to protect you. Okay? When it comes to husband and wife, let me tell you, I don't care what anyone can out there say. No one should be able to influence the union of a husband and wife when it comes down to a decision for that household. They have to make the last decision, and outside of all influences, because what at the end of it is your household, your family that will benefit or lose in this. Right? The serpent comes to Eve. Did he tell you not to eat it? Read, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
We can eat anything we would like.
But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Lest ye die. Now, of course, Eve at this time don't have no idea what death is. Right? She have no idea. Lest ye die. But of course, Lucifer, Satan, the fallen one, the serpent, Samael, would come to Eve and say, you know what? It's safe. Sounds familiar? Mm-hmm. Because just because you don't immediately die doesn't mean a judgment isn't on the horizon. See? So what they'll do is they'll make you think because you immediately are still living and nothing has changed, that really there's no side effects. It's safe. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Curiosity comes in, right? Mm-hmm. Read it, Elder Lloyd.
Yes, sir. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Because sentence against an evil work isn't executed expediently.
Therefore the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Because the Most High didn't judge you that day. You believe that, okay, I got away with it and judgment is not going to come in, so I can continue to do this. I did it and there's no boogeyman, nothing happened. I'm still whole. It can't be that bad, right? And then nothing happened to me. So then what happens, Satan instills in mankind, in man's mind, to continue to do evil, not realizing that an angel is taking record. And an angel, you haven't gotten away with anything. It's just the Most High is still contemplating your judgment or giving you space to repent. Okay. You're not getting away with anything. Let's go back to Genesis.
Genesis 3 and 3. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Lest ye die. Go on.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
So the serpent says, you're not going to die, which means today. So what is Satan here doing? Divide and conquer. Now, what Satan needs, the woman cannot provide, because the dominion belongs to Adam. Mm-hmm. But if he can get to Eve, eventually he can take the dominion given to Adam. Why? Adam loved his wife. See? Read on.
Verse 5. For the Most High doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then shall your eyes be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
You shall be as gods, which are who? Angels, knowing good and evil. So that begs the question, how do angels know about good and evil? Well, they witness the disobedience in the heavens with Lucifer and the 1/3 angels. See? Are you following me here? Right? He says they're going to be like us. They're going to know everything. It ain't time for them to know anything. They need to learn obedience and be strengthened to the degree to judge these angels. See? It's not time for that yet. See? Satan was like, listen, this God who's made you, he's great, but he's withholding things. You trust us, and we'll tell you everything. We're going to give you everything. We're going to give you the knowledge of how the earth works, what's in the earth, all of that. We know, we have the plan. We know exactly everything. We know what's going on here. Would you like it? See? Would you like it? Would you like to know now? Right? Read.
Verse number 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise.
And a tree desired to make one wise. See? Now you notice, folks, when it comes to any type of talent that one might have, that talent can be magnified, or you can concentrate and actually focus certain ways in a concentrated manner if you take certain drugs and all that. Like, I know musicians and all that who can't even create anything unless they smoke reefer. Look how great Ray Charles was. He needed opioids. He needed heroin. So it concentrates you on your thoughts and your creativity and allow you to bring that to life by linking in to spirits or elves or angels to help you. And that's on every level. When you look at Nick Tesla, one of the greatest inventors of our time, he was an occultist because he opened himself up for demons who can make him wise to give him technology. The same as, who's that guy that all the rock stars worship?
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley. He was able to open himself up so that he can teach politicians what to do. He can teach anybody anything you would need because he was what? He was a gatekeeper. He was a top Satanist of the occult world. They called him Satan's son. Okay? He was willing to give himself over and connect. And it does make you wise. It gives you knowledge outside of the ignorant. It's not hard to be an intellect, or what you would call a genius in a dumbed-down, ignorant world. So Satan say, well, I'll make you a genius. See? Knowledge to make one wise. So when she took on this fruit, it gave her knowledge and understanding, folks, beyond Adam. Everything became simple to her. You understand? She started to understand. She knew all the things. I mean, they were teaching her, gave her information, understanding. Right? What you have, Brother Lloyd?
Yes, I'll wait till we finish this.
Okay, go on.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
So they sewed fig leaves and made themselves aprons to cover themselves. Because why? They were physically naked. Just like a child. An innocent child, that particular child doesn't have knowledge of shame. Because it's not thinking of what? The flesh, or sex, or anything that's fleshly. So that's why children run around. They can run around holding a pamper or their diaper, swinging it in the air. You're like, boy, come over here. They cover, and you begin to teach that to the child because they don't know shame. They don't know nakedness. They don't know sin. They're innocent. See, but they were taught, Eve was taught and Adam was taught things of the flesh to the degree in which they were like, well, hold up now. Let me cover up now. And that's why Christ said, unless you be like one of these little children, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven. Adam and Eve before this were innocent. Like they were the Most High's children. And he was looking to raise them up and nurture them. But Satan got to them. See? Like he does a lot of our children. We would like to keep them innocent to the degree in which they can understand the world they're about to be released in. You understand? We like to keep them coddled and protected, knowing the world is unforgiving. But Satan has a way of getting to them first. Okay, you need to go to this party, invited to this party. Oh, Mom, you won't let me do anything. You know what's out there. You know once they get a taste of that flesh, they're no longer your children. You know that. And I'm just trying to break it down in layman's terms. You want to keep your child away from those sensations as long as you can because there's someone else after partaking the flesh. There's someone else. Uncontrollable because that becomes a new desire. That's what happened to our father and mother, folks. That's what happened. Now all of their senses have come to life. Food tastes better. Everything feels better. Everything is about the flesh. What I can see, what I can hear, the news I can hear, what I can taste, what I can feel. Everything is about sensation, being insatiable. Now Satan has control because what? We're now subjected to the flesh. Well, because you're subjected to the flesh, you'll die. Because it's the spirit that has the life, and through it immortality. See? It's that spirit that leaves us, that makes us immortal. So if we're subjected to the flesh, eventually the flesh will decay. Are you following me here? Come on.
Verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day.
That's Christ, the intercessor. Read.
And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden.
Come on.
And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Most High Power said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord Power said...
So now it's like this. They did it. Oh no, the woman you gave me introduced this. And she's like, no, the serpent introduced this. Read.
Verse 14. And the Most High Power said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Come on. And that's why the snake is cursed. Okay? Before this, when you read in the scriptures, it tell you that the serpent was a fiery dragon with wings. But now, because of the curse, being that Satan used that form to deceive mankind, that particular animal was cursed, which was what? You got it. A fiery, flying dragon. It became what? Snakes. That's why snakes slither on their belly. It's a curse. And they would eat dust the rest of their life. Okay, as an example or as a reminder of the so-called reptile that deceived mankind. Read.
Verse number 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed.
Okay, let me make this clear also, because some people might ask, well, we know that Satan is a man, 2 arms, 2 legs, and all that. But Satan still have the power in this earth, him and those angels, to change form. Okay? He still have the power to change form within this realm. Okay? But the form he used was cursed in the garden. Read.
Verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed.
Now that's a key prophecy right there. I would put enmity between the serpent seed and the woman's seed. See? That means the woman will have a seed that would eventually destroy the serpent seed. Now we all know a woman can't bear seed. So what is it talking about? It's talking about a future woman who will be married to the Most High, the children of Israel. The Most High was a husband unto Israel, and that's the woman it's speaking of. I will put enmity between the woman's seed, who is Israel, and the serpent seed, which means the serpent would have a race of people that he would control against the children of Israel in the earth. Read.
And it shall bruise thy head.
And it shall bruise thy head.
And thou shalt bruise his heel.
And thou shalt bruise his heel. So we would eventually, through Christ, bruise the head of the serpent. Okay? But he shall bruise, and it says, and he shall bruise his heel. We're going to show you that hand and heel in a moment. But let's make it clear. The children of Adam and Eve would be at odds with each other because of this disobedience. Instead of the children growing together under full dominion against the fallen ones. Because don't forget, Adam and Eve was given dominion and a judgment to judge the fallen ones one day. So instead of them aiming their war against the fallen ones through a curse, Satan has now tricked Adam's seed into fighting each other. See? We wrestle not with flesh and blood, folks. See how it is? So now the whole narrative has changed. The Most High created us to judge the fallen ones. But now, we're fighting against each other. I would put enmity between thy seed and the woman's seed. The children of Adam and Eve will war. They will fight against each other. See? You see that? Come on.
Verse number 17, or verse number 16. Unto the woman he said.
Unto the woman he said. Now he's speaking about Eve. Now let's show that the woman is Israel real quick. Lawyer.
Yes, sir. First, Isaiah 54 and Revelation 12.
Come on.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse number 4.
I will put enmity between thy seed and the woman's seed, the serpent seed and the woman's seed. What woman is it speaking of prophetically? Here. Read.
Fear not. This is Isaiah 54, verse 4. Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither shalt thou be confounded. For thou shalt not be put to shame. For thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shall not remember the reproach of thy widowhood any more.
Come on.
For thy Maker is thine husband.
Thy Maker, the Most High, is Israel's what?
Husband.
Husband, read.
The Lord of hosts is his name.
And the Lord of hosts is his name. So, of course, God's people, the children of Israel, would be married to the Most High. Okay? And this is speaking directly after leaving Egypt and all that. We're now a nation, and now we are now marrying in a wedding the God who made us from the beginning. The God who made Adam, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the way up into us. Now, when we came out of Egypt, he married us as a nation. We're his woman. Read.
Verse 6. For the Most High hath called thee as a woman forsaken.
Exactly. He called us as a what?
A woman forsaken.
A woman forsaken. Read.
And grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth.
and a wife of you. So that woman it's speaking of is future prophecy in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. That there will be enmity between Israel, the Most High's woman, and a race Satan would use to war against us. A seed in the earth. Hold tight, and we're going to break it down, showing you that the angels would eventually bring forth a seed that would begin that war before the flood. And we're going to show you how that war continues after the flood. One moment.